All right, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. We are back for more Atlantic Chase Solo. Basically, I've been through most of the book, and we only have these two scenarios from the Arctic Convoy series. Now, previous episodes, somewhere I think I missed one of the scenarios. I skipped it or something like that. Frankly, I don't feel like going through the book and looking at my video history and trying to figure out which one it was, so I'm just going to let that slide. Instead, we're going to kind of get into these Arctic Convoy scenarios and kind of finish out the solo book, and maybe I'll try a two-player just done by me. We'll figure this out. Anyway, 1942. Historically, Germany was fighting a losing battle on multiple fronts. Its U-boat fleet labored on, but its happy time had waned, while the long-range FW-200s had been dealt with by the RAF and Coastal Command. The surface raiders had been successfully hunted down by the Royal Navy, and even the mighty Bismarck's one voyage resulted in defeat. The French ports to the west, those lethal points of launch, proved vulnerable to air raids and even sea raids, inspiring assets to be transferred to the relative safety of Norway and Germany. From there, the Kriegsmarine's dwindling surface fleet could be used as a weapon against the Arctic convoys, ferrying supplies to the Soviet Union's northern ports. By the summer of 1942, all of the theaters of Germany's war paled in comparison to the massive appetite of its East Front. With the bulk of the surface fleet in Norway, the Kriegsmarine's main goal became the disruption of that Arctic convoy route, if not its severing. Okay, that's the background of these two scenarios. Specifically, this scenario is called PQ Convoys. A1. Early summer 1942, it is imperative that supply reach Murmansk. Is that in the map there? Yes, right there. The Luftwaffe and Kriegsmarine have advantage of position along the Arctic route, having shifted assets from France to Norway, but Admiralty has the advantage of numbers. Stakes are high. Our objective is to bring convoys to the destination port unscathed. It is vital convoys reach the Soviet Union, but other convoys can't be neglected. Yes, I will be playing the British player here. All right. So what else do we need to consider? Weather is good. I have the initiative as the British. There are no German TFs except for some U-boats, and that's the nice thing about this. I tried out this scenario once a little bit to practice. I didn't do the whole thing, but U-boats. We're going to see more U-boat action in this scenario. And let's see. Convoys can't be destroyed, but they can disperse. The scenario ends when 3 convoys have successfully completed in their destination ports. It may also end as a result of the German action solo table. And you can see we only have 2. And this is like the other one where you're desperate to get the third one out so that you can have more control over the end game. Okay, now let's take a look at our forces. Let's see. These are going to be my main big military ones. These are just going to be kind of destroyers as kind of screens and intel triggers. Why is that there? I don't know. Yeah, and so here we go. There's our big guy. We got Tovey here who does that trajectory thing. And we got an aircraft carrier in the action. And let's see, here's our convoys. The one's coming inbound from here to Clyde, Liverpool. And this one up here, sorry, I'm wiggling the camera around so much, is going to Murmansk from Iceland. We can, here's the convoys. Where's my other hang on. Bing, there it is. Okay, yeah, I need to bring that in, and it'll be definitely heading toward the Russians. I can bring this in as a reinforcement, which looks really tempting, but I got to remember, I take a -3 to my victory points if I do that, so I'm probably not inclined to do that. Let's think there's anything else here. Yes, from our thing, we get 1 shot, Bletchley Park. When British have the initiative, you may attach an intel marker to a German trajectory. You may do this once. So I get a freebie to really pinning down a, German task force. One thing we should talk about is this Arctic line. You see this little tiny line going through here. We haven't dealt with that in any of the scenarios before. It's pretty unique to this one because it's the only one where you're going to have a lot of guys up there. So, for instance, it eliminates air support. So if I was to airstrike or anything like that, any hex that's in the Arctic line is considered bad weather. And that will negate any air support or air striking. Now, the interesting thing is, so I'm not afraid of this air base. In other words, now the interesting thing is when I've got a trajectory and I've got trajectory pieces that are outside of it and inside of it, and I do a time lapse, I get a choice. I can either take, like, that's a very slow convoy. I can either take the 2 as if it was good weather, or I can roll the dice and as if it was bad weather and go from there. So we'll see how that works out. I think that's everything. Let's get started with our first move as the British. What should we do? I think, you know what? I haven't done this before, and I think I want to do it. I haven't tried this as a strategy yet. I'm going to go ahead and try it. I got an idea. I'm going to use these guys to shadow the convoy, because it's most likely that when I roll on the German action table, first thing you can do is make a task force and go after one of these convoys, and it would be cool to have the possibility to coordinate and mitigate against that before show. So I'm going to do this instead of reacting to them. So let's get that started. In fact, here, let's magic it. And boom. Okay, up here. Just kind of walking along with him. I didn't go into this space with the U-boat because that would invoke an intel marker, which we don't want. And I did the same thing down here. And I went ahead with 6 because if the Germans do come this way, they would try to avoid this and go for one of these. So I want some trajectories in there. Okay, now I gotta think. There's no Germans on the board. There's nothing really to do at this point. So I think I want to go ahead and pass it to him and see where he'd go and start shrinking some of these trajectories. And I'm going to designate a task trajectory to pass. And I'm going to do this one because it has an intel marker on it. I would like to take care of this before the Germans get on the board. And like I said, because it's partially in the Arctic and partially out, I get to choose. I think I'm going to go ahead and roll it. I'll roll a die because worst comes to worst, I'll roll a 1. A 2 would be what I would get from a normal time lapse anyway. So there's a much better chance that I'll do better than a 2 than just rolling a 1. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and pass. And rolling the dice. 2. Okay. Okay. Passes to the Germans. And we check for weather, because you still have to check for weather, even there's Arctic up there. Well, the weather is going to be bad. For now. Okay, now what do the Germans do? Here's a view of go ahead and give you a view of the German action table. And it's based on the number of convoys that I have completed. Depends on what row, column or row. I always mess this up. 1 through 6 here. We just roll a dice, and there's no damaged ship, so there's no modifiers. Straight D6 on this 0 column row. 5. That is gonna be the standard interception. All right, let's execute. And interception directs me to use the nearest German task force to a convoy. But there are none, and of course now we have to create an unidentified one. So there. The thing is, we got to roll to see where its starting port is. Oh, sorry about glare. One of these days I will be a lighting expert. But not today. Okay, so here's our table for deciding where this unidentified task force starts. And I roll a 3, which is Narvik. Let's go up to our board. And Narvik is where exactly? Right here. All right. We don't know what it is. We know we want to do actions that will bring the task force to battle. Okay, well, first things first, let us trajectory over there. And just as a reminder, if anyone's just kind of joining, not that familiar with this game, I always like to remind that this is not the battlefield. This is a map of the battlefield, if you can imagine such a thing. So this is really, I'm a guy playing as the British. I'm in Bletchley Park. I'm an intelligence guy. And my map is just, it would be pins here with little pieces of yarn on the map. And I don't know much about this. See, like I don't know who's in here. I don't even know if this thing even exists. And because my guys are also keeping radio silence, I only have a vague notion of where they are. And so this is all about the fog of war. Sorry, I should do a series, just kind of an episode, just kind of going over all that. But anyway, yeah. So we have this. We have trajectoried over there. Now, the best thing to bring to battle, I would suggest, is do a signals action. Yes, I think that makes the most sense. This is just, I don't think the bot really directs it. This is kind of one where you have to kind of make the best guess for it and the best move. And I think the best move here would certainly be a signals action. And how do we execute one of those? Hats off to the designer for this very, very self-explanatory actions menu player aid. Wonderful. Gets you nice in the order and makes the game so much easier. Anyway, but a signals action, it's really just wherever you say trajectory has an intel marker on it, I can just... And that's exactly what we're going to do. What's going to happen next is there's going to be a time lapse, and then there's going to be a chance for the Germans to... me to seize the initiative. So, what he does is this, and basically take away all these trajectories. That's the deadliness of an intel marker, is it just takes all this unknown stuff and pinpoints that convoy right in that hex. So let's do that. Okay, got it like so. Now we come back to our aid. You always want to just kind of follow this along. That doesn't apply. And this will make sure you don't screw up. And so that's my advice. If you get this game, just follow this and just go read right to left and do everything in there, and you'll never screw. Well, I won't say never, but you're very unlikely to screw up if you just kind of follow this. This is Mark Herman. Follow the damn sequence of play. Sorry for the French. So, one time lapse. Okay, that is an unknown. What do you call them? Task force. And so you have to assume that it's assumed it's very slow, so it's going to time lapse like that. Once again, it has 3. It has 1 in the Arctic. So he has the choice, and I think he would take it. So he will roll 3. Oh, interesting. Because now he's in there with him. Okay. Whoops. Oh, that went down. Oh, now I'm going to have to crawl under the table and get that. Hold on. So, there we are. We're in a bit of trouble. He has us by the hip, as it were. And so, he did all that. He's right on us. My hope is that I can roll a 9 or better and seize the initiative from him. So here goes the die roll. Need a big roll. Right here. No. Okay, as you remember, our every time you fail one of these, you get a modifier each time, and so that eventually you're gonna get the initiative back. So the Germans retain the initiative. Now, it's not exactly hopeless yet, because the bots, when they do a move, even though he had a mission to bring to battle, every time he does an action, he has to roll on his German action table again. So there's a possibility he will do something other than engage me right there. So we're at the mercy of the dice here. Yep, let's bring our dice tower down here. Here comes his roll. A 1. Okay, that's going to be interesting. That's the airstrike. In bad weather. Let me think about this. It tells me that if weather is bad and a U-boat force is in a hex with an eligible target, that's correct. It performs a stealth attack. I don't think I've ever done a stealth attack in any of these videos. I think I might have done it. Maybe one. It's a rare thing. But yes, we are going to stealth attack. Oh, I should say the Germans are going to. I got to remember who I'm playing. I'm being the British here. I got to get in my role here. No idea, sir. I believe that's a U-boat coming our way. Yeah. So that U-boat is going to attempt a stealth attack against my convoy. I can actually coordinate with that unidentified task force. I looked through the rules there. There's nothing. It operates normally. So I see no reason why I can't coordinate. It's bad weather coordination, so that's going to be a +1 to this stealth attack roll. Let's take a look at the old. Here's our stealth attack box, and it's going to be +1. It's 0. I hardly ever use these victory point things. Anyway, it's there. 0 column at a +1. Is that a... Pardon me. Hair there. Yeah. Okay, +1. U-boats attacking. Oh my gosh, it's a 12. Wowza. Okay, that is just a straight up hit on my convoy. And yes, it would be even though in this task force there is a light cruiser. Convoy is where all the victory points are for him, so he would most certainly take the hit here. Okay, so it's, I forgot my little markers. Oh, here it is. No, they didn't. There they are, right there. So convoy. You know what? Let's liven up this story a little bit. I got my copy of The Hunters here. Let's see which ship that U-boat sank. Okay, so I need a D6 on their escort chart here. So we got here 4 is a large freighter, and now we need D100. Is that a 60 or 90? I think it's 69, because 9 would be where is that? 90 right there. Yeah, so 69. That U-boat sunk the 5,200-ton Bork. Bork? Can't even pronounce it. Where is it? Borke? I don't know. Okay. So there's your flavor. All right, moving on. Who was in that U-boat anyway? Okay, well, what happens is the U-boat marker comes off. He slinks away. And he can come back, actually. That's the nice thing about this scenario. We can see a lot of U-boats coming back in. But he got me. Stinks. And, sorry about all the camera wiggling like a drunk person. Stealth attack. There's no need to do a time lapse because they're both at 0. What does happen, however, is a 5 for initiative. And it's +1 to me. We roll 2 dice. And, oh yeah, I shellac him. Easy. So, the turn returns, the initiative returns to me. All right, so that is going to be it for this round. Tune in next time. The Germans have gotten us. Can we get that convoy into Murmansk? Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. And see if we can get it relatively unscathed with only one hit on it. All right, but until then, thanks for watching.